Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. It's that time of year to have the state of the collection for this year. It changes from month to month, from year to year, but I wasn't going to be getting any new watches this year, and so I thought, well, might as well do it now. And famous last words about not doing any more watches. We'll see. Okay, anyway, wanted to start off, show you the watch I got on, and pretty easy to identify. And if not, at the end of this video, I'll tell you what it is. Okay, but first, before we get started on State of the Collection, I'd like to introduce you to the Watch of the Week. This is a Laurent Ferrier Gallet Square. Adam Baruch is the owner of it, and it is my absolute favorite Laurent Ferrier. It's among the many watches that I don't have. I love this watch. It's the gold and the brown go together. In the back, you can see the way the movement is just, it's really a beautiful watch. Now, this is the 5th anniversary Gallet Square, and it has a special chocolate dial on it, and the chocolate indices in the case is red gold. So this is a very, very special watch, and I want to thank Adam for letting us show it. Very interesting guy. Laurent Ferrier used to be a race car driver, worked for Patek Philippe for years, and eventually went out. Unfortunately, his watches are really expensive, but they're very nice too. Thanks again, Adam. Okay, so I want to get started, and the order that I have my watches in are somewhat in terms of the way I got them, but then I said, well, I'll group them by type and a few other things, so don't worry about the sequence. They're all there, but maybe not in the sequence that I got them. I really started, I think, in my head as a collector. For years, I've been interested in watches and the watches I get, but I really said, okay, I'm going to start collecting watches, and what I wanted to start with was the Holy Trinity, and the first one I bought was this Patek Philippe, and it's a Calatrava. I call it a sort of Calatrava because the year that the Calatravas were named at was after this watch came out. This is from 1968. It's a 3468 is the reference number on it. Just a wonderful watch. I love it. But I don't wear it too much because it's considered to be a bit delicate. So anyhow. Okay, the next one, this one is Vacheron Constantin. My second one was actually an overseas by Vacheron Constantin, but I traded it in to get another watch, and I'll talk about that in a bit. This one was my second Vacheron Constantin, and it's called a 1972, and it commemorates the 1972 winning of the Prestige de France by Vacheron Constantin. And it's an unusual shape watch. I really like this watch a lot. It looks cool. It was a watch that it's from 2000. They first came out, I think, in 1999, and then this version of the 1972 came out then. Now, the next watch I got is also named after a year. This is the Vacheron Constantin Historique Américain 1921. I just call it my 1921 if I'm formal about it. This watch is a very cool watch. It's a beautiful, to me, I think it's really a very pretty watch. It's unusual. It has that shape. The crown is that instead of being at 12 o'clock, it's about at one in terms of the orientation of the entire watch. And it's unusual, and it's fun to wear, and I wear it a lot, and really enjoy it. Okay, this next one is this one it's what I call my full of gold. This is from about 2001. It's El Leroy, and it's Osmier extra thin. And this watch, El Leroy is one of those companies that goes way back in history. Uh, Leroy was working on watches around the same time as Breguet and in Paris. They went through the terrors and everything else together. And from 1901 until 1989, Leroy had the most complicated watch in the world when it was replaced by Patek Philippe, which was in turn replaced in, I think, 2015, 2013, something like that, by Vacheron Constantin. But historically, it's fantastic watch. It's got lots of gold in it. It's running on a Peugeot 7001, which is I was hoping for something more elaborate, but it's a time-only watch, and it's a decent time, and looks great and easy to tell time with. Okay, and this is definitely a dress watch. Now, this next one is one I got for my wife. It's a Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. I got it new for her. I think it was the first new watch I bought. The other ones were pre-owned, except for the El Leroy. That I got condition 0 new. And this one is just been a great little watch, and she wore it for years and still does. This next watch, one of my favorites. This is a Habring 2 Felix. It was the first model that Habring had their own in-house movement called the A11. I think it was called A11B, B for basic. And this is a time only with a second subdial. This is probably the most accurate watch I have. It's just unbelievable. Just wind it up and off it goes. The other day I was looking up for some of these for someone was interested in them on a used market. There aren't any. There were 2. I think one of them had a Valjoux movement that Richard Habring worked with for a while, and then another one has something else. Anything that he touches is just fantastic. So this is one of my favorite watches. The interesting thing about Habrings is that it really takes a lot of work to wind them, but they keep really accurate time. Okay, by the way, too, that one, I think it was the 2015 Aiguille d'Or, not the Aiguille d'Or, but the Petite Aiguille at the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève. All right, this is my Harry Winston. My Harry Winston is a fun watch. It's got bi-retrograde, and the bi-retrograde module is by Agenhor. The movement is by Girard-Perregaux. And it's typical Harry Winston with those 3 big, I don't know what you call them, columns, and they reflect the archway in the original Harry Winston store on Fifth Avenue in New York. Fun watch. Now this one is a Bovet monoretropont. And believe it or not, it's a condition. I got it at condition 0, but it was about 70 years old when I got it. Apparently, they found a crate of these things somewhere in Switzerland because they're made during the war years, where there's a lot of watches like this were made. Now this has a Bovet name on it, and there's something that is a Bovet patent called the monoretropont. And it works like a rattrapant, except it's sort of like a zin, the sound of one hand clapping. What you do is that you start it like you start a chronograph, and then at the bottom pusher, you push it in and hold it. Let's say it's 2 runners. When the first one finishes, you hit the bottom button, and when the second one finishes, you let it go and it jumps forward. to the position that the second runner was. So it works like a rattrapant, but so. And they had reloomed the hands, but a lot of the, in 70 years sitting in a box somewhere, it disintegrated a little, but it's in pretty good shape for a watch that old. This one is another one I just love. This is a Bovet 1930. It's a stainless steel watch. It is a magnificent watch. I love this watch a lot. And it's unusual, and it has the bow and crown at the top, and then at the bottom there's what's called a bar lug. And in fact, I did a video on how to change the bands on this because they're quite interesting to change. I'll put it that way. Fun watch. It's when you shine a light on it, it doesn't take much to do it. It makes these little bows in the top and bottom dials on that. So it's really a wonderful, fun watch. By the way, too, it looks very awkward and so forth. It is totally comfortable. You don't even know you have it on. It's a great watch. This next one, my wife and I had our 25th anniversary, and I was looking for something really nice for her. And Bovet has wonderful watches for women too, and this one is I really liked it. It's the red gold, and it's got 5 sapphires around on the bow and crown lugs, and then has diamond indexes for the time, and then it has what's called one of the things I like the most about it is what's called the serpentine hands, and those are those little wiggly hands that it has. And it's the thing that I really liked about it, it's mother of pearl with the Jaeger-LeCoultre on the mother of pearl. This watch, it also has something that's called Amadeo system that Bovet has, and you can take the top and bottom bands off and pull out the back, and it sits up like a desktop clock. Really a remarkable clock or watch. Here's the other thing. The time is just magnificent. That keeps perfect time. One of the things about Bovet, it's one of the few watchmakers that makes their own hairsprings and balance wheels. So this thing is just a magnificent watch. All right, the next one this is another great watch. I really like this watch. The problem is I just don't use it. This is one I may end up selling. It's Zenith Elite Automatic. When I first got it, I went to a master watchmaker and had him service it. And he did what he ever did, charged me quite a bit and said there's nothing wrong with it. This watch is in perfect shape. And it was my first GMT. Everyone hears about the El Primero, but I tell you, the Elite is a very nice line of Zenith watches, and this one is too. I put on a blue, I think it's either gator or leather with a gator look to it, one of the two, and it's a great watch to wear. But the thing is that it's automatic. I just don't wear it that much, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I like it a lot. Okay, now this next watch, this is one of the reasons. And I got this for a travel watch. This is a Louis Vuitton Time Zone. And it has an ETA in it, but they said it was LVT87, and then there was a thing off Fabrique du Temps, which is owned by Louis Vuitton, and they did the movement. Well, actually what they did, and they did a very good job of it, by the way, was they have the disc so that when you change the time, the night, and everything's coordinated. It's really a fantastic watch. My wife liked it a lot, and so she ended up getting it. So this is now my wife. The picture's on my wrist, but my wife ended up with it, and that's sort of nice. When you go on a travel or something, she can tell whether when the kids and the grandkids are up and time to call them. Okay, this next one is F.P. Journe. What is it? A Chronomètre Souverain. This watch, last year, 2017, I had this one and my other one serviced by F.P. Journe. I didn't know what the service history was, and so I sent it in and had them service it, and they polish. It's platinum, and I had them polish the platinum. Apparently, polishing platinum is not easy to do, and has blued hand, as you can see, and then it's got that, what a lot of people see as a backward power reserve indicator over on the 3 o'clock. That is from the old ship chronometers, because the ship chronometers back in the age of sail, if they stopped, they were crucial for navigation. And so they would have the start with 0 hours until it was wound. And as it went down, it was like, you're going to fall off the end of the earth and a sea monster is going to get you. I love this watch. This is the exact watch that F.P. Journe gifted to George Daniels before he died. And this watch is so much fun to wear. This is a nice, comfy, great watch. One of my favorite. I keep saying this is one of my favorite. The thing is, it's true. They are. I have so many favorite watches. And I'm trying to get to a place where that's all I have are favorite watches. I guess everybody is. All right. Now this next one is another F.P. Journe. This is a Chronomètre Resonance. Excuse me. And this watch is an amazing watch. In about 2005, F.P. Journe started making all of the plates and bridges in the movement out of gold. And before then, this watch is from 2002, and it had the brass plates. Well, they didn't make very many of them before they changed them all to gold, and so the ones with the brass plates ended up to be fairly rare. It's probably one of the few times that brass was more valuable than gold in a watch. But I don't care. I'm not going to sell it. It's been a fantastic watch. This too was I had serviced by F.P. Journe. By the way, you have any kind of watch like this. You don't want to send it out to Ralph or somebody who's got an online degree in watchmaking. You want to send it to the home office. In this case, in the United States, there's a F.P. Journe service center in Miami. So instead of having to send it all the way back to Switzerland, but before I sent it in, I was very careful to ask if they understood how to really service resonant, because that's the tough part of it. They did a magnificent job. And another thing too is that you get they send you a free watch band when they return it, which is really nice because those watch bands are about $400 a pop, and so hey. All right. So those are my two F.P. Journes. Now this next one is really the only watch I have with a bracelet, and it's this great big old Parmigiani Colpa. This watch is I just love this watch. It's just I love to wear it. It's a big, macho kind of watch. And I usually take it on walks with me. I know that wearing a gaiter band or a leather band especially when it gets warm, isn't good for it. So that's my walking watch. That and my rattrapant, my mono rattrapant, if I'm trying to walk a little faster. This one though is a Parmigiani Fleuret, one of the most underappreciated watches and one of the best deals you can find in high horology anywhere. Love this watch. And here's another of my Parmigiani. This is, once my wife started lobbying for the World Timer by Louis Vuitton, I started looking, saying, well, I need a watch for a real dual time watch. And I saw this when I read a review of it, and it was very innovative. The red hands are where you put somewhere else, and wherever you are locally, you use on the larger white hands. It's got that big window for the date. It's automatic, and then it has these two little subdials with the top white and the bottom black. And what these are, this will let you know whether it's day or night. So, you know, you don't want to call somebody in the middle of the night. And so you can take a look at your watch and see whether it's day or night where you are. And then at the bottom, there's a small seconds down there. Fabulous watch. I went on a trip recently and took that with me, and it was great. I had my home time. It's got two crowns. The top crown, you pull that out, and it releases the time, the away time. What I do with the red dial, I set it to Greenwich Mean Time, and then I have local time on the white dials. And so once you set that in, then you pull out the bottom crown and set it, and both hands will move in coordination. Really a cool watch. And it's got those big old horn lugs on it that's characteristic of Parmigiani. And what they really do, they serve to curve the entire watch. And so they're incredibly comfortable watches. Okay, my final watch, and again, with all of these favorites, this is another, I just love this watch. This is a H. Moser at Sea Henry double hairspring, and the double hairspring has they have two hairsprings that go in opposite directions to keep the balance wheel centered. And fantastic watch. Moser's, this watch, they quit making them, and they have is something called the Swiss Alps watch that has a similar shape but more mocking and sort of homage, sort of a tongue-in-cheek homage to the Apple Watch called the Swiss Alps. And they used to put the double hairsprings in there, so they quit. And so I asked them, I said, how come I thought, well, something was wrong with it. And they said, well, they are going to do it in a limited edition. They're only going to make 20, I think, a year that's going to have the double hairspring. And the reason for it was engineering-wise, and it was very expensive. So I'm glad I have it. Apparently, when it comes time for service, it may be cost me dearly, but it's worth it. Love this watch. This is such a neat watch. Just anyhow, well, that's my collection, and I had the only watches that I traded in my Audemars Piguet to get the Vacheron Constantin 1921, and then I had to trade in my overseas to afford the Bovet that I got for my wife for our anniversary. But otherwise, right now I'm really happy with my collection. The problem probably is I've been thinking of an annual calendar or a perpetual calendar, and I'm probably going to have to give up a couple watches, one or two, to get that. But it's going to be a while. I got to sort of pump up my bank account for that. But anyhow, listen, you got any suggestions? Say, hey, here'd be a good watch to get. I think this would complement it or something. That'd be great. You could leave a comment for that. And this is an invitation to subscribe if you'd like. And on Sunday, we're going to do something a little different. And by the way, too, one of the reasons we're doing something a little different, I haven't been receiving any collections for collection reviews. And so if you have a collection you'd like reviewed, shoot me an email and say, hey, these are my watches, and send me some pictures of them and say a little blurb about each one, and I'll be glad to review it. It doesn't cost anything. I don't know why they charge for that, but they do. Not me. I enjoy the watches, enjoy looking at them. Okay, well, we've gone on a bit here, so I'll see you on Sunday with something we'll do a little different. This is Bill Sanders for Watch Outside, the Art and Science of Watch Collection.